Have you ever walked out of a meeting or a presentation and said, man, I should have said this? Or even worse, wow, I can't believe I said that. Of course you have. We all have. But that's because you haven't heard this video yet on the 9 steps to thinking on your feet. Now, despite all the preparation and all the persuasion without drama and the things I've talked about in previous videos, Mr. Murphy is always going to show up. Somebody's always going to hit you with a question that you haven't prepared for because you can't prepare for everything. So when that happens, here's 9 steps. The first one is plan for the unexpected. Now that sounds like an oxymoron, but let me explain what I mean. You can plan for the unexpected by thinking about who's going to be there, knowing a little bit about what they care about, what their history is, and know some of the things they're probably going to ask you about or possibly going to ask you about that have nothing to do with the topic at hand. Maybe you're going in there to present Project X and your boss's boss might say, hey, tell me about Project Y. How's that going? So know your audience and plan for whatever they may ask you in that case. 2, practice situational awareness. That simply means pay attention at all times. How many times have you glanced down at your phone or looked at something and suddenly you look up and all eyes are on you because somebody's asked you a question and you didn't hear it? Nothing more embarrassing or credibility crushing than to say, could you repeat the question? So pay attention at all times, and that'll actually help you to anticipate some of the questions that may come your way. 4th, don't be afraid to pause. You can take 1 or 2 seconds before you answer the question. A friend of mine once told me that your perceived IQ goes up 10 points if you simply pause before you answer a question. Now, I don't know if that's true, but some of the books that I have behind me on presence say that it is true. And besides, it gives you some time to formulate your answer. 5th, answer the question. You're not a politician. You can't get away with it like they can because that's what people expect from politicians. In business, people expect you to answer the question. Now, they maybe have answered a different question than the one you think they should have asked, or you think they might need more information than what they asked, and that's fine. Go ahead, answer the question first. That earns you the right to then add more information to the question from there. Number 6, or don't answer the question. And what I mean by that is you don't have to answer every question. You can say, I don't know, I'll get back to you. Obviously, you don't want to do this every single time because then people are going to say, well, then who does know? Let's get that person in here the next time. But don't try to answer and don't try to bluff your way out of a question. There's a guy by the name of Günter Schabowski who is the poster child for this. He was a member of the East German Politburo, and in 1989, he went to a press conference. He was totally unprepared, and he announced that there were going to be some changes to the border wall opening with West Germany. And one of the reporters said, when's this going to take place? Without even knowing the answer, he said, oh, I don't know, I think immediately. As soon as East Germans saw that on TV, they flocked by the tens of thousands, and the rest is history. So don't try to answer a question that you're not prepared to answer. 7, when you do answer it, especially if you know a lot about it, don't tell them all you know. Practice what they need to know. So basically, give them the point and then be prepared to give them more information if necessary, or give them the point and give them a flag that says there's more information if you want it, such as, yeah, the project's going to ship on time, subject to 2 or 3 concerns that we're working on right now. If they want to know what those concerns are, they're going to ask you. Number 8 is answer the next obvious question. So don't overdo the need to know. If somebody says, do you know what time it is? Don't say, yep, and wait for the next question. That's crazy. And a little more realistically, if somebody says, will the project ship on time? Don't just say no. Say, no, but we expect it to ship within 2 weeks. Or no, but this is what we're doing about it, and then here's our plan B. Something like that, because you know that's the next obvious question that's going to come up. Okay, that's 8 steps to answer simple questions. What about impromptu speaking? When somebody asks you for something more, such as, can you give me a project update? They're expecting a little bit longer than a simple answer. Believe it or not, you can give a fully formed presentation with an intro, with a structure, and a close with 0 preparation time. I teach it in my classes, I demonstrate it in my classes, but more importantly, when I show people how to do it, they demonstrate it to themselves. And the first thing you do is, of course, listen to the question, Then take a second and then make a stand that gives the answer to the question. So if somebody says, what's your position on X? Think for a second and then blurt out a position. Don't say, well, gee, there's a lot of things that I need to think about, or there's this, there's that, there's that. Don't give them that thinking. Tell them, I'm opposed to it. And the reason you say I'm opposed to it, or you say you're for it, came out of your mind for some reason. I guarantee you that because that came out of your mind, you will find the reasons when you talk, and you'll give that. So I'm opposed to this. Here's the reasons, 3 reasons, reason 1, reason 2, reason 3. And for all those reasons, I think it's a bad idea. So you've got an intro, you've got a structure, you've got a close. If you can follow these 9 steps, you're not only going to be the best prepared person in the room, but you're going to be the best unprepared person in the room.